Hi, y'all. Welcome to the Spiritual Speakeasy, where the bar is always open and the spirits are always served. Tonight, we are going to be talking with Katy Stafford. She is one of the owners of Supernatural Inc., the podcast forum that we are on tonight. She is logging into the computer as we speak. So we'll give her some time to get on. And for those of you listening, type in a 1 if you can hear me okay. Trying a new camera system with a new mic system. So let me know if you can hear me by typing in a 1. Hope you all are doing well tonight. It's been a beautiful day here in mid-Missouri. Little pollen activity here. Been out in the yard and doing some yard work. I'm wondering if anybody can hear me because nobody is typing in. Of my viewers, can you hear me? I'm going to type in. Okay, good. Good. Thanks, James. Appreciate that feedback. So we're waiting for Katy to get on. Tonight we kind of changed what we were going to talk. We were going to talk ecology and decided with everything going on in the supernatural and paranormal fields, um, we would actually talk about being role models and modeling good behavior and what we can do to make this a more honest business, which is really important. Um, make sure that we're all doing everything we can to present evidence as much as possible to not fabricate things, whether we're with people in people's houses or we're doing our own investigations, talking with things that are in our house, or going to places where we have purchased tickets and they're well known places. We should always uphold the highest standards and not add drama to the field, not add anything else that's represents ourselves poorly or other people poorly as well. There's a lot of people talking a lot of shit and saying they're doing a lot of things, but then they're not really doing those things. And, trying to stay true to the trade and, even making sure that our equipment is in good repair and that, when we say we are recording, we're actually recording so that we can pull back those feeds and those recordings if someone chooses to review our evidence and things like that. So those kind of things are important. And if anybody wants to comment or ask questions while we're waiting on Katy to get logged in, I'll take any questions. For myself and my husband, it's really important that we explain the equipment to people, we talk to people, we let them know what's going on. If we say we're doing a house blessing, we're actually doing a house blessing. If we say we're clearing things, we actually clear things, and we clear each individual person that wants to be cleared in the house as well. We have certain things understood when we go into residential places. I have a slew of questions that I ask about drug use and mental illness. Sometimes we act more as a counselor and a referral person than anything, but being honest with the person, if there's something we can do to help, then we tell them that. If there's something we can't do, if we're not able to do that, we hook them up with the right people. All of those kind of things are important. And not going out in the public at shows, especially in saying we're doing things that we're not doing. That's really, really important. Hey, Katy,
Okay, so I think I got everything together
can you
now.
hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. Can you hear me? Can you hear me? Don't
Yep,
mess with me.
I can hear you now.
Can you? Yay!
No,
Are you sure?
I couldn't hear for you for a second, but now I can. Yeah,
Good, good.
you're kind of
Because
spit that I can do on my
tell
end
our
about that.
audience how much trouble sometimes we have with our audio on StreamYard.
I hadn't got to that. I was talking about ethics in the paranormal.
Oh, good. That's a good topic.
Yeah,
Thank you.
yeah, yeah. We were talking about, not representing ourselves to people as something we're not. If we say we're going to clean people, making sure we clean people. If we say we're gonna clean the house, making sure we clean the house, and not
Mm,
going places and talking the talk, but not walking the walk.
right.
So don't advertise yourself as doing things that you're doing, and don't tell people this is what you do when you're not doing it.
Right. Well, I mean, you know what? I don't know if we all still live like on this honor system. I mean, that's kind of how, it was back in the 80s, hell, probably 70s. I don't know. But I remember just my mom, and being, going to school and stuff like that. It's like we live in a society that's on honor. So, like, but I don't think it's like that too much anymore. So, same thing applies to when you go paranormal researching or having ethics with anything, even like with your work ethic, etc. I kind of just jumped in the middle of whatever um you was hey, what's up, Tim? James? How you guys doing? Join the live and share to my thank you. I appreciate that, Tim. Julie, are you there? I wonder if we lost Julie. Let me get my phone and let me check because I think we may have lost Julie.
No, I'm having a lo No, I'm on.
Yeah, you keep
Can you hear
freezing
me?
up on me. Yeah, I can hear you. I'm gonna see what it looks like on YouTube. Let's see here.
I know, I know, and I've had media come out.
Let's see here. Yeah, you're freezing up a little bit. Let me look and see what your connection is here. Let's see. Is that you making that funny noise? Hello? That's weird.
Can you hear me?
Yep, I can. Hey, what's up, Russell? Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay.
Can you hear me?
I can hear you fine.
Oh, you're
It is
breaking up.
freezing up.
Yeah, you're kind of crackling up there. Weird noise. Yeah, there is a weird noise. I don't
I
know what that
know.
is.
Hang on.
Let me edit your
So that should have gone off. Is that better?
yes, it is better. Perfect. Hey Greg, how are you? What's this? I can't even pronounce your whatever this
Silent, if you love drama,
it says
get
come
your
fight
ass on
us.
our panel, come fight us.
What does that even say? El Padre whatever, dude.
Okay, so we
Now just leave it
bye.
because I'm fine with trolls coming in while
Yeah.
I am on. Hey, what's up? Damien, Julie, a
Yeah,
little
hi,
sick of
Damien. Hi,
talking. Shoot.
Tim.
Julie does a good job, man. She has like because James says Julia a
Julie a
little
little
off.
sink.
Oh, because
No,
of the delay,
Julie has really bad
Yeah, because of
Julie has really
the
bad internet.
yeah. You don't have like Google Fiber, do you?
I've got very high speed internet.
Yeah, it looks like
I've had to come
looks
out
like
and check it every week, and they keep telling me there's a problem with noise on, and my house is fine, and it just,
mm-hmm,
anything in this neighborhood.
right.
So here we are.
Well, they're doing a lot of
It's
upgrades, so
it's called lazy mediacom people who come out and fix their lines.
I agree with Greg. He says aliens. Good night, honey. Yes,
Normal stuff, my
are
favorite.
you
Probably not. Whew.
are
I've
you
been
having storms down there?
no, no, the weather's perfect here. No, no. It is actually my lines. I mean, we've had them checked. It's the lines that run.
Yeah. See, I can't,
So,
stream at my office
until
unit
they fix
because
their
they don't.
equipment, there's nothing.
Yeah, I can't even stream at my office unit to do like StreamYard. Now I can do Zoom, but I can't do StreamYard. It won't. I mean, it'll kick me off our internet. I hardwire it. It doesn't matter. It just um, it's no good because they don't have um,
Yeah, Zoom's
5G.
fine. I have no
Yeah,
problem with
Zoom.
Zoom.
Me either. And also Microsoft Teams. I use Teams
I
as
have no
well.
problem. No problem.
None. But I think because StreamYard is
Yep,
streaming to
yep.
multiple
Well,
platforms.
I've never had a problem on Zoom.
What's up, Chris? Cap
That
Chris?
that could be.
Chris, we met
Hi,
at
Chris. How are you?
he's Haunted Nights
So, yeah,
Paranormal.
just honesty in the paranormal.
Yes. Yeah.
Hi, Haunted
And
Nights Paranormal.
I assume most investigators um are honest and just like I said that um what did I say? I'm sorry. I've been tearing a fence down all weekend. Well, actually, it's just like the two front gates, and so I'm a little tired. So y'all excuse me because I have like kicking this fence. I had fun doing it, and me and KD are was trying to rebuild it back, but yeah, no, it's a lot of yard work to clean up around here, and if you don't keep it clean, the city writes you a ticket. I mean, they never have to us, but they have to like, our neighbors and whatever. So it's very important to keep all that stuff cleaned up. Mm, yeah, live
Yeah,
by the
yeah.
honor
Chris has
system.
been doing yard work all day today. Well, actually, the last few days.
Yeah, and um, it's not just about
Yeah, the
paranormal
honors. Yeah, let's talk about that. Let's talk about doing the things you're supposed to do.
being an adult. I'm serious. I mean, if we can all just be mature adults, you're a good investigator.
Show up. Yeah, show up when you're supposed to.
Yeah, I love all the different techniques a lot of researchers do. Like, I love how people um, do different ways of researching. Like some groups won't use any equipment. And that's fascinating for me. And I hope they log it. Some do, some don't. Um, but as a researcher myself, I log everything that I'm doing. Like I log what the moon cycle is, what's retrograde, uh, temperature. Is there a storm in a 50-mile radius? Like I log all this down. And then I also have like little affirmations and some scripture. I have my own little paranormal book and, I just write down everything. And, you know, I don't know if Chris remembers this, but I had something happen at the LeBold mansion and I needed a peer review on what I had found because I show my evidence and it was just me and KD and I think was it the LeBold? I can't remember where it was. It's been a couple years, but you need that peer review. And you know, if I ask someone, "Hey, this is what I found. Can you like test this out?" Maybe it was a refrigerator, maybe it was just something I missed. This is how the weather was that day, blah blah blah. And because I right now I have two or three things that I cannot explain. Does that make sense? So I try to document everything. It's important to have peer review. 1710. Good Lord.
Yeah, and
Turn
what a
on.
good idea.
Yeah, it's
Shit. What what a good idea to be logging things like the moon, to have that in a record.
yeah, Chris remembers, and he did, and it wasn't anything. It wasn't anything. I don't. I believe Chris. I might be forgetting, but I'm pretty sure it had something to do with like their sub pump or their septic or something. I can't remember. It was something like that that we were able to explain because it was just so bizarre. And um, anyways, just I just wanted to put it out there how important it is to have peer review, and just like in a science community, uh, they have peer review. Archaeologists have peer review. Um, they ever since, for example, the Smithville Lake, and there's confirmed 3 mounds confirmed in Smithville, Missouri. And originally it started out as 9 mounds, Indian mounds. Well, as archaeologists come and go and they switch departments, blah, 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 they got to make sure they review what their peer had found. And then they're like, well, I see a discrepancy here in my experience, and let me check this out. So one by one, they just kept marking off, and there are 3 confirmed, and that is, and they don't fight about it because they have evidence to show, and that's kind of another portion of honesty as well. um and I know on your past shows you talk about, yeah, not everything is demonic. um you you will know if it if it is.
Right,
um
right.
i I came across something, 2 things, that once in Germany and then once here in Missouri. Um, I won't talk about those things, but that's how rare it can be. What and I do believe sometimes the paranormal can affect a researcher. Like, you got to stay grounded and you got to stay in your ways. Stop worrying about what the other researchers are doing. Stop worrying about what they're doing on TV.
Absolutely.
Focus on what works for you. And if you see videos on YouTube, of course, comment whatever. You're an adult. Present yourself in a professional manner, especially if you're doing it under your team name, because you're representing yourself and your team. Unless you're just a single researcher. And I've met a lot of those because they have just been burned, or you know
Even then, though, it's important to be professional,
yes. And how are other
you know? I
researchers,
mean,
other
even
other
then, don't slander yourself, don't
but here's the thing, all researchers, paranormal researchers, guess what? You're representing the paranormal community. So you're not just representing yourself and your team, but you're representing us. So when there's a lot of drama going on, and you're at a location, and because I'm a preservationist, I'm a historian, and they are a lot of historic sites that don't want any researchers coming in. They don't want those events there because of the confusion, um, not having enough help, people not understanding where to go, what to do, and um, stuff like that. And pointing fingers. What's your fault? I've seen some crazy stuff, and I'm just like, guys, you're representing me too as a researcher in this field, and just remember that your neighbor, your next person, they're representing you too. So we all have to form together and work together. Most of us do. I there's not. I can't say anything negative about any. Hey, hey, hold on one second. I got a 11-year-old son who's in 6th grade, and he's got map testing. Hold on, let me mute this so y'all don't hear me yell. Ha ha. Love you too, but
Yeah, Chris, absolutely. Para-unity is very, very
I'm so sorry. That's so unprofessional. But I couldn't go to my office because I'd get and my office.
what
I, I'm in my office building in
Katie?
Nashua. Hey,
Para-unity is very important, and it's also important that we, represent ourselves like a clean team that we are, if that makes sense. Like, you're not only representing the team that yourself is in my case, it's myself and my husband, but we're representing any other paranormal team that comes after us or any other paranormal team that has come before us or other paranormal person that that person's going to meet after they've met us. And so if we set the stage that we're, um, you know, angry at the world and want to create a drama situation and stir the pot with people, and then somebody else, that person that you're interacting with goes and meets another person, they're going to automatically think that's how all paranormal people act. And we don't want to come
right,
across that way. We want to
right.
come across as being very level-headed. Yeah, yeah, we're representing the entire field, not just myself and my team, but these are things that carry on, and it's
Mhm.
crazy the things that are said. It's crazy the things that are done.
Yeah. So, um,
Don't talk shit on your peers,
no, don't talk negatively.
your people that
Period.
you're
About
investigating with, or the
not.
people
Yeah.
that you're
Nothing negative about TV shows, nothing negative about anything about the field at all, because it makes everybody look bad, even though it may be someone that these people don't know, even
unless
if
it's
it's
Zach. Unless it's Zach, we can make fun of Zach Bagan's pants. It's okay.
well, well, the point is though is that your focus is not on what you're there for is the problem. And now I like
Right.
Zach Bagans. I like Zach Bagans because right. I want a haunted museum one day. That yes, he is. He is. Zach Bagans is successful, and I've never met him.
He is
So
very successful. There actually is a Facebook there's actually a Facebook group called Zach Bagan's Pants that I refer to frequently because he has some wicked pants. Like, I'm just saying, I don't know where it's his clothes from, but there is a Facebook group called Zach Bagan's Pants, and I like to reference that.
I don't care. No, no. My daughter
And
goes. You want
yes,
to hear some? My daughter goes. You want to hear some
Grandizer
rumors?
12, I am
No.
freezing. You Grandizer 12, you're no. The problem with
My
podcasting from your house is that your children and your cats and everybody want to join in. Um,
well, my
I
son.
said the problem with podcasting from your house is everybody
I
wants to
hate.
join in.
I hate podcasting from my house, but I was trying to get my daughter wants to talk about some drama with Zach Bagans and whatever the other guy's name is. His wife tried to kill him. What? Who? Oh, I know who she's talking about.
Yeah,
Aaron. I had no idea. What in the
Aaron.
heck? See, this is what I'm talking about. The
Yeah, Aaron
paranormal
Goodwin.
field.
Zach
It,
doesn't do Facebook.
dude, I'm telling y'all
Actually,
be
Zach does
careful.
do Facebook now. He has a check mark now.
Yeah, that it's I swear the paranormal community gets to some people. And I'm not saying it's anything demonic. I don't know what it is, but whoo, I have met so many people, so many teams, and they change. They change. I don't know why. It's I don't know if it's just because they get frustrated with people talking about them, or they find a way that I don't know, but I do believe it is something supernatural affecting these people, whether it's, I don't think it's demonic. I just think that they're being influenced by their thoughts. And because, sometimes when I research, my mind will be very imaginative and run wild, and over time you begin to control that. You begin to be more stoic and more observant, and you have to read your environment. You have to know, is that the air conditioning that kicks on? What does it sound like? I mean, there's so much, like, is there a lot of it's nighttime, what kind of birds and stuff are out at night, what kind of animals are out at night, it's the building. There's so much, and you should log all this, and just log things down. Even if the location is, did you guys, spray for ants? Blah blah blah. I mean, because that they can mess wires up. I'm just saying, there's so much there. Okay. Do you think those that change in your field, change in a negative light, that is, they're unknowing, got something attached to them? Not necessarily, it could be, but I just think a lot of them get tired. It's very draining. I don't
Yes.
know. And that's when you got to, I'm a very spiritual person. I'm connected with the comforter, and in my journals and in my research journals that I carry with me, I have scripture. It makes things sometimes a little more active with scripture, but Jessica Potter, I don't cleanse people, and I use chakra bells, and I will use sweetgrass, and there's a certain way that you have to do it. It's good to, you know, bare feet in the grass, and feel the vibration of the earth, and just let that vibration run through your body, and just it's it can be so tiring. One year me and KD did 43 up to 50 events in one year. um and I know a lot of other teams who do about the same. I don't, not quite as much now. It's kind of dwindling down, and I'm not quite sure why that is. The events, people aren't really buying too many tickets for events anymore. I don't know if it's because of the decline on like TV, because there's other platforms for people to watch these paranormal shows, but people just aren't they are watching them, but not like they were 3 years ago. It just start. I don't know if I could be wrong, but I do marketing, and I've noticed a decline in people watching those types of shows. And yes, they are watching them on YouTube. Um, you know, those other independently owned networks, Amazon and Netflix is different. You can't, yeah, I can't, you can't put anything on there. Uh, have you seen it passing through Haley's comment to tell if it's six? Um, is that this month, Damien? Are you talking about this month? Let me tell you, I've had like electrical issues, and okay, so the sun has like a black solar. Oh, I can't I'm sorry, I'm tired. I can't remember the proper terminology for this, but the sun has a dark spot on it, meaning that it's not whipping out its flares. I don't want to say, because I don't want to put it out in the universe and something happen, but y'all need to go on YouTube and look it up. Go look it up, do your research, because it affects the whole environment, it affects the static. I believe it creates even more activity, because water absorbs um, electricity. like EMF and stuff like that in our environment. And I believe they're testing out. Uh, you there, baby? Yes, Damien. Yes, my dude. That's right. Yeah, dude. It's crazy, man.
Coronal mass
I
ejections, yeah.
Yeah, there's some, and it did you they just found out that have you guys heard of the Foucault pendulum? The Foucault pendulum. Our planet has a Foucault pendulum, and the scientists don't know what this is. And it's just like a pendulum. It swings, and they don't understand how, because we're on an axis, okay? And you have the X, Y, and yada yada yada.
Yes.
And yeah, man, those mass ejections, those solar flares, a weird phenomenon happened. Like it was Spain, uh, all of those southern European countries Portugal lost power, and they said it was some kind of weird phenomenon, and I can't remember what it's called at the moment, but I probably should have did a little studying today before I came on, but
And there's been a
guys,
whole band of earthquakes too.
yeah, yeah,
A
all
whole
that,
a whole line of and a whole band of earthquakes coming down. All
yeah,
5
and
point something.
it's crazy, and all that messes with the um, protons in the air. It stimulates like an electrical type field, and water can only absorb so much of it. And what are we made mostly out of?
Right.
Water. So that's where that 5G and 4G and EMF sensitivity comes into play. But when you're having, um, you know, like Damien was saying with the coronal, mass, ejections and, from the sun, um, it messes with the atmosphere, and you should be logging that in your paranormal books. So, because I do believe that can create um, a disturbance in the spiritual realm, not to awaken, but to kind of, we can hear them a little bit better, like they're talking in a room next door. If you see where I'm going with
I
this,
think it thins the barrier. I think it
yes,
thins that veil, and I think that atmospherically, if the
yes,
air or the atmosphere around us is energy charged, it gives more free energy for entities to, whether you believe it's interdimensional or it's, different, that would be the same thing. Whether it's spirits or it's, you know, dead people that are coming back to speak to you, or if it's past, present, future timelines, any of those things, any electrical excess or lightning storms, anything that creates that electricity is going to aid in anything being able to move quicker to us and communicate better with us.
and real quick, also, how does all that affect us as far as being able to harness it ourselves to heal ourselves? Because you do Reiki, so,
Yes.
and so, I know some Appalachian witches, and they do some phenomenal like healing work. Um, I don't want to say too much, but is there like, would, since you do that, do you, some Reiki practitioners don't work well certain times of like the equinox, spring equinox, blah blah blah. I don't know how all that works.
Yeah. I work any time of the year. Um, I feel like to do what I do, I have to be in control of the energy around myself, and I have enough security features, if you will. I have enough barriers and hold sacred space enough that I'm able to work with that energy. Hi, Salem. To work with Hi, Barbara. To work with that energy that's around. So whether it's it's going to be a full moon or if it's going to be an eclipse or anything like that, that doesn't throw off my energy. You have to learn to work with all kinds of energy.
Right. So I know, like, because I'm terrible with the retrogrades, and I can't
I
remember.
don't
There
I
was,
don't follow any of that.
yeah, because I don't cleanse my crystals. Um, Sometimes I might cleanse them under the moonlight, but I tend to just bury them in the ground and have them ground and vibrate the shaman's residence. I may be saying that incorrectly, because that's the Earth's natural frequency and the shaman's
Schumann's
residence.
resonance.
Schuman's
Schumann.
residence, yes.
Mhm.
And I do my crystals like that. I even stand on them when they're in the ground and just try to clear them out. But there's different techniques people use
Yes.
to do, uh, just to kind of stay focused. Because let me tell you, your things can mess with you when you're a researcher, and it's very important to stay in check.
Stay
Very
clean.
important.
Stay clean.
Yes.
And I think that's, now that my mic system is better and I'm not freezing up every minute, um, I really think that that's one of the things as investigators we have to watch for too. And, I oftentimes on my show refer to my two favorite well, they weren't investigators, but psychologists. One of them was a psychologist. Was also a psychic medium, I believe, Debbie Constantino
Mhm.
and Greg. People don't clean themselves. And we
Got
see this
to.
you can go to any show on any given weekend. It's a metaphysical show, and you're gonna feel the energy is gonna be way out there. And I want people to go to shows, but also
Yeah.
understand that the people who are working the shows need to stay clean. You have
Right.
to clean yourself. You have to clean your energy. You have to clean yourself. I use a crystal mat. I have a crystal mat on my massage table that I use for Reiki. It's got tourmaline. It has a EMF blocker on it. It grounds. I have a grounding mat that plugs into a plug. There are all
Cool.
kinds of things that I use to ground, as well as meditation and cleaning. And those things are so
Yeah,
important. You have
it
to stay
is.
clean. If you're not clean, you're no good to yourself. You're no good to anything, anybody.
I like
Things
I
will
like I like this comment James made. He said, "My friends in Maine investigate live filming a farmhouse was full of orbs all flying into the floor." And a lot of people knock orbs, but I have two videos of orbs, and they're blue and came right out of the ground. It's on my Ring camera, okay?
Mhm.
Twice, and it's so weird. No, I think the first one, no, they're both on the Ring camera in the front. Yeah, it was the most weird thing. It came out of the ground, it floats up, and then it just keeps going up, up, and it took about 3 hours. It's
Oh,
weird.
wow.
It's happened twice in a 10-year period. It's weird. And orbs, some people are like, oh, they're bugs, blah, blah, blah. But if you study orbs in your videos, hair, oh man, I remember when I first started doing this and got my first IR uh, camera, sees in the night vision, and there's this hair, and it was probably mine, I'm sure, but it was so weird looking. And I swore up and down, I was like, "What is that?" Blah blah blah. And I figured it out. It was my hair. It was a piece of hair. It was so weird.
They look like little fairies. They look like they have
Yes,
wings. Your hair does. Your hair do.
yeah,
Your
they're
your hair
yes,
do.
yeah. It's like that gets all yeah, yeah. It's
Yeah,
weird.
yeah.
And then
So,
you'll know if it's a bug or not because you're gonna hear it more than likely.
we had great video, like, I think it's on every format that I'm on except for YouTube, of using the dead bell in an investigation, and we had orbs coming at us crazy, and we put an EM pump on there, and It was just absolutely nuts. The orbs, and they were coming directly from the area that we were communicating with, going
Mhm.
straight to the camera and straight, like, coming straight towards people and things. Really nice orbs. Really
Yeah,
big.
you know you know what'd be what we've done, you should try it, get you some gator clips, man, clip it up onto your antenna of your ghost box, right? And then build you up a little copper little, um I don't it's not a Faraday cage, but a little copper square fence or whatever, because you start using some symbology. Make sure you do it on like magnetic north. Connect them gator clips to your ghost box antenna outside. Oh yeah. And then what I was David well, I was with David Glinton, Jessica Potter, and Charles. God, we were in Joplin. Oh man, it was foggy and it was bizarre, crazy, dude. And the fog. Now I'm not talking about the fog from last year. I'm talking like the fog from like 5 or
How
6
fog
years ago.
how fog used to be.
Yeah,
Really foggy.
the real fog
The
folks are
real fog.
I'm gonna assume it was the real fog, but
The
no,
real
it
fog,
was.
not the shit
Yeah,
that they're making now with the HAARP and that.
it's crazy, man.
James says, "They went into the basement and a stick figure was sitting on the electrical box with orbs flying around going into a portal in the ground." Wow.
Yeah, and James, and I hope you did you have, like, other devices measuring this, energy that was happening? Was, like, there temperature? Was there increase in humidity, barometric pressure? Does because I think that a lot of these things, go well beyond their communication intelligence, like, we can't even understand it, but I do believe that they know how to kinda, um peek through the veil. And did you guys know that the word veil means flesh? I just wanted to put that out there on a biblical term, means flesh. That is so they're able, and we are in the flesh in the present right now. So they're able to kind of peek in and they are kind of like the flesh. But that's what I say. That's what I believe. And later on down the line, I might find something that totally doesn't really quite line up with that at that moment. So don't, you know, I'm not gun ho about it, but I'm just telling you what it says in the Bible, what the veil means. Um, but anyways, I just find that very interesting that I think we don't even know the easiest way to communicate. Some people, is it ayahuasca? Well, whatever that.
Ayahuasca,
Yeah,
ayahuasca.
that to me is a back door to getting into, um, to that spiritual you're getting into the back door, if that makes sense. I'm not saying you're cheating by all means, and
No, no. And
you're
there's
not
a lot of thoughts on that. I mean, there's a whole lot of thoughts on that. There's, your psilocybin and your ayahuasca, um, open up the door to a spiritual realm that is seen by many people that experience the same trip, if you will, the exact same thing, and they've never communicated. They're clear across the world from each other. But then there's also a whole other community that believes that it is the door that the serpents speak to us in. So it's the devil, if you will, coming in and falsifying the information that we're seeing. So we have to be very, you know,
Oh,
understand that there's different ideas and different viewpoints on that, and do your
right.
research. And I'm never going to lead anybody into doing something that, I know for me, psilocybin is the way to go for. I can't use ayahuasca. I'm on too many medications, and
Right.
when you take ayahuasca, even on a one-time trip, it is an MAOI inhibitor, so you cannot take a whole lot of meds, and there's a whole lot of foods that you cannot eat ahead of time. Now, do people follow that? Probably not, and that may be why people get so sick and have
Yeah.
blood pressure crises and all different kinds
Ooh.
of reactions. But it can be deadly. Anytime you mix things with MAOI inhibitors, You have to be very, very cautious of what you take because you can actually have a huge blood pressure crisis.
And
So
I'm glad you're, you know, pitting out this, the things that it could do, the precautions, because I'm seeing it more. I'm reading about it more and more, that because people are trying to be more spiritual, maybe. Well, that's just, a couple people that I read about, and they just wanted to have more of an understanding, about God, where they came from. And yes, it did help them at first, and then things started getting crazy. The stories, I mean, you can just look it up on YouTube, but I like reading the actual scientific papers on those, and you can Google it and read those papers, and it's wild.
well,
Uh,
I think as the chemicals stay in your brain and your brain is firing so rapidly, there's been a lot of studies done on, schizophrenics using acid, and acid is obviously the man-made version of the ayahuasca and the psilocybin. Chemically, it lights up your brain in different areas. So when you're schizophrenic, you have very active areas that are firing in your brain, which they say is why they see the hallucinations and hear the auditory things and the visual things and the feelings. So when you hit them with that, it's much like, and it's scientifically, I'm going to minimize this, so don't quote me on the science the way I'm explaining it, but it would be much like an ADHD person taking caffeine. It's going to destimulate
yes.
as opposed to ramping you up. So when you take those things and you're schizophrenic, it causes the firing to slow down. When
Oh,
you're normal, not schizophrenic, and you take those, it fires up and lights up the areas of the brain that we aren't using. So then you're able to see the things that are around in other spaces, if you will, other dimensions. The problem is when you overuse something like that, it continues to fire, and then you end up with things that kind of go wrong.
right.
And so then you can't leave that, and processing it is an issue too, because a lot of people don't understand there has to be processing with that. It's considered medication. It's earth medication.
Yes. Yeah.
And you have to process, you have to integrate. So integration takes a long time after you've taken a trip like that. And a
Yeah.
lot of people are firing back to back to back to back to back. They're taking a daily, they're doing these things with it. That's not how it was meant to be. That's not
I
how it was
agree.
meant to be used.
Yeah. We have a cracking in the sound again. Would you say, okay?
I don't know.
Yeah, I heard it last time, but I don't hear it this time.
Mm-mm.
Um, Damien, he says, would you say more people experience paranormal after they have experienced death or been around death? Like, for example, a nurse. Okay, so this is you are a nurse. Yeah.
So I had a near death experience myself, yes, and I think you will have a lot of people that have had amped up contact with entities and voices and able to communicate with things that are other dimensional or whatever you wanna call them, um, after they've had the near death experience, and yes, nurses have a high rate of that, although unless they're working in the metaphysical or paranormal world, they're not gonna admit to that unless they're hospice nurses or ER nurses. Most
Yeah.
Yeah, they're too scientific, like, when you get into your med surg nurses, your floor nursing, a lot of them will not admit to that.
Yeah, my niece worked in um, a hospice unit, and she totally was like, none of my nieces and nephews, even my own kids, they're not really into the paranormal. They like the history. They love the history. That they like going to these historic homes and hearing the stories. But Debbie, when she worked in hospice, she kept seeing this older lady, and she didn't know she had passed away, but she saw her. She went into her room to check on her, and the room was completely empty. And she was like, I just saw her. She calls me. She goes, Aunt Katie, I think I might be stressed out. And I was like, I was asking her all these questions. I was like, are you pregnant? And she goes, well, yes, I am pregnant. And I was like, And she goes, Aunt Katie, no, I know there was something there. It's not because I'm pregnant. It's not because of my hormones. And I agree with her 100%. It was not her hormones. Um, Needless to say, she goes, is it wrong that I was fine with that? That I didn't feel scared about that? And I was like, yeah, it's fine.
Yeah,
I
that's
was like,
cool.
yeah. I asked her, I was like, well, did you, pray for her? She goes, well, I always see you, leave a white flower behind or a yellow flower behind. So I went across the street to the gas station and got a yellow flower and sat it in her room. And in some cultures, the yellow flowers, yellow roses means friendship. Because she talked to this lady all the time, and I think some people are, a lot of times people are like, I've experienced a lot of things, but people think I'm crazy. If I could just have $1 for every time someone has told me, "Don't think I'm crazy," and
Right.
those are the people I believe because they don't wanna tell, and sometimes they won't tell everything either, so I make them write things down and then let me look at it after I research and it's not just 1 time, 2 times, 3 times. I mean, several times throughout a couple years, but I do read what they have written after my first preliminary, investigation. Hey, Kim, how are you, honey?
Hi, Kim. Yes, James, acid does well, and you have to stay hydrated, and that's another thing people don't realize is with all of this stuff, you've got to drink an enormous amount of ginormous amount of water. Like, you really
Yes.
have to almost flood your system with that, and people I mean, we as human beings don't drink enough water anyway, and then on top of that, you've gotta, like, almost double what you are supposed to drink, and we don't drink enough, so, yeah, that's why we kill our brain cells. Question, apologies if this was asked already. Katie, what got you into the paranormal field? Personal experiences you've had, books you've read, stories you've heard, media that you've followed? Great question.
Well, I'm gonna be like one of those
Damien,
people.
no. Red Bull, no.
Ye Hey,
Damien
man,
says Red
I
Bull.
used to drink the hell out of some Red Bull, and my nutritionist was like, "Stop drinking the Red Bull, even that, blah, blah, blah," whatever. Um, well, there's all the above. When I was younger, I had experienced, things, but not ghosts, like weird shapes, like light shapes. When I was younger, my mom used to always tell me it was my brain growing. Uh, um, Now my dad, though, is a psychic medium, and he's retired command sergeant major of the Army. He retired from foreign affairs, and he's a humanitarian work. Very My dad is he is a behavior analyst, very smart guy, and he is a psychic medium. It runs on the male side of the family. Um, but as far and my dad Now, when I went to Gettysburg, I was 15, and I already didn't wanna be there because I was 15, and I just didn't wanna be there, and, but I also didn't feel well when I was walking around. Well, I walked in the grass because it was gray out, it had just got done raining, um, and it was very humid, and I could see, like, um, just steam rolling through the hills during the day. Well, so it felt so calm at first. So I walk across, into the grass, and I'm looking at the hills, and it's just so green. And then I look down at the ground, and it was blood. It was blood. I mean, I was stepping in. It was squishy. Like I
Mushy
can.
blood.
It was and so I'm screaming. My mom comes over there before I. From what I remember, I do remember my mom calling my dad because she was like, "You're gonna have to come down here because my mom remarried." And my dad came down and grabbed me, and he explained to me. I didn't know this until I was like 15 that he was, a psychic medium, and he doesn't see but only types of certain spirits, I guess you would say, and it's mostly younger spirits. He sees mostly children,
Mm,
and he can't stand it. And yeah, and I took him to the Patterson house. He didn't know that it was haunted or anything like that. It was when we first opened the museum up in Smithville, and the caretaker was giving my dad and my stepmom a tour, before we finished moving all the artifacts into the museum. And all of a sudden I hear, Catherine Blaine Willard. And I was like, uh-oh. And my dad, he goes, I need to talk to you outside. So we go outside. He goes, you didn't tell me it was haunted. I was like, I didn't say it was haunted. I don't know if it's haunted. He goes, the boy upstairs, back door, he's blue, not happy. Come to find out, there was a 12-year boy who drowned, and they did recover his body right there by the dam, by the Patterson house. And I have a picture of him. So I sent my dad two pictures. I says, do any of these? One was of Robert Lee Patterson, and then the other was J.C. Peters. And my dad picked out J.C. Peters. That was him. That's who he saw, and that was the boy. Um, there was a story written about it in the 169 magazine, that one of my board members, Kathleen Bird, was like, she is into this kind of stuff now. Now she's realizing some of the things that she experienced were things that she couldn't explain, but she's
mhm.
just didn't, you know, ignored them, because she is a retired prosecutor. She's doesn't want anybody thinking, because people look down on people because they believe in ghosts and you know how it goes.
Stick to
So
the
that's why,
facts. Just
and
facts.
that's right, and that's why as paranormal people got to stick together. Another reason, guys.
Well, and that's a reason to be honest about everything. If you go someplace and you don't see something, you don't hear something, then you didn't see something and you didn't hear something. Don't jump
Yeah.
to the conclusions. A, it's not haunted.
Hmm.
You don't have to say it's not haunted. You say, I didn't experience anything that night when I was doing my investigation.
Right. Right, because somebody may experience something. Who knows? Maybe, oh man, I could blow the lid on that Velisca axe murder house. I'm just waiting. I'm waiting for God to say, "Go ahead, pump out the info," because it's gonna blow y'all's mind. I just got to confirm all this through the the historical society there. But yeah, it's very that place is haunted as hell. I don't care. I had a lot of people like, oh, I didn't have an experience there, and and I wanna know, like, what time of year did they go? And I'm like, "Did you use equipment?" Like, I wanna know what they used. Can I see some video? Because there's so many people who didn't have an experience there, and the ones who did at the Velisca, they had,
Mhm.
like, major like, some weird things. There was in 2017 a guy stabbed himself. He was a paranormal researcher. He had to be airlifted to a nearby
Oh, wow.
hospital, and that's not the first time that ever happened either.
No.
Back in this, did you hear about the older gentleman that started stabbing his hand at the dinner table with a steak knife while he was eating, and they left all the stuff there and left. But I was shocked to see that in 2017, a paranormal team went in there, and it was very unlike this guy to do this. He's a very seasoned researcher, and who could just he almost died.
Got
And
affected. got affected
Oh,
by something.
yes, and needless to say, all his social media and everything has been wiped. He doesn't talk about it. He doesn't I don't even know who the person is. Um, I was just trying to figure out, like, is it a like, what is this? Is it the person? What?
I think
And
it's the energy. I think
that's the
it
thing
can
about
shift
the
the person.
and that's the thing about the supernatural that I find so fascinating. Um, and I do find it fascinating that someone didn't have an experience there, and that's why that
But, it hides too, because the guest Frankie that I had on for the last 2 shows, like he said, he has gone places where there's been absolutely nothing, and everybody claims that there's
yeah.
intense entities and energies, but I think it'll affect those people who can be affected. It'll show itself to those people who, they don't know about yet. But I think there's also those people who are very sound in their beliefs and they're very secure, and they aren't gonna be bothered by the negative, and the negative doesn't bother to come out.
Yeah, and also
You just don't know. You don't know. And if it's storming, you might get something, and if it's cold, you might not.
there could be a lot of variables there. I mean, this
Mhm.
could be something that followed you. It could be, because I know for
That's
myself.
another thing, yeah. I just had that happen Friday night. We literally just had that happen.
What happened?
Sorry, my computer just tipped. We did a private residential clearing and blessing, and, I have another medium friend who this was a mutual client of ours, and she wanted to come and be a part of this. She's a reader, she's a Reiki master, and she was not used to working with any kind of negative entities, like, she's cleaned people, but she doesn't work with entities in a house situation, and wanted to come and see what I had to say and how I worked with people, and, she we did a cleaning, and she did a walkthrough, and she's like, "I've still got this thing around me." And then she looked at me, and she goes, "I wonder if it's on me." Not me. She was saying, "I wonder if it's on me." And I said,
Right.
Sit down, let's do a search," and hit her head with my spray and touched her, and she goes, "Oh my god, it just jumped off." And it
Ooh,
just
that's
left, like, it
creepy.
just went poof.
Mm,
And she said, "So that's been on her for a while, like, for a minute, it's been on her."
uh, right.
She's carried it around, so, that's another reason we have to stay clean is because
It's
we
important.
don't want that stuff going we don't want it going to a location. We don't wanna contaminate that location any further, and maybe, you say, "Well, Waverly," or, any place like that, "Oh, there's so many spirits and there's so much activity, it's not gonna matter." Maybe in the scheme of things, it's not gonna matter that much at a place like that, but in a residential place, it's
Mhm.
gonna matter a whole lot because we wanna make sure that we're clean when we go, you know, when we go into somebody's house. Spray me with holy water and I'm gonna see.
We do not do home cases anymore. I have so I did a case where this woman was actually she thought that a ghost was in her home. She thought that a ghost flattened her tires, mysteriously missing her credit cards, hearing noises in the house. Well, come to find out, she was being abused, and her husband had cameras in the sockets. And because I have equipment, I was like, "What is in there?" I have a oscilloscope, and I could see something flashing, and I was like, "What is going on?" And so I'm like looking down in there, and I was like, "What is that flash?" I have never have y'all ever seen a little blinking light in the freaking little wall switch? And it was on there, but it wasn't screwed in all the way. I don't, and it was him the whole time. And when she what brung everything together was when I dropped the pen in the floor on purpose, and when she bent over to pick up that pen, she had bruises all over her back. And
Oh
then
my god.
right then and there, myself and the psychic medium that was with me because she was doing the cleansing, and I was trying to clear the house and say, "Hey, look, I don't know if there's anything supernatural, ghostly going on here, but I can tell you for sure that you're being abused, and he's the one who flattened your tires, and he's taking your things from you." And I hated that. And he calls because he can hear us, and
Mhm.
I was like, let me go get my boat and go get my pew pews off the bottom of the lake down here, and my taser that's in the car, because I mean, it could be dangerous. You just don't know.
Home
Like,
investigations can be, and you have to have some idea, and you don't know what you're gonna run into. You run into
mhm,
all kinds of people and
mhm.
all kinds of houses and all kinds of things, and, yeah,
It's
over the
crazy,
living,
man.
yeah, for real, and that's I mean, we've had some crazy things happen, and for sure, yeah,
And
you
you
don't
should be
know.
writing. All of you should be writing this stuff down, and the times, and things will come back to you too as a couple days goes on, and even when you go to another location, you'll start making connections. Like, whoa, wait a minute, this happened over here at this place, and this has happened to me several times. These locations will be connected.
Yep,
Bizarre,
yep,
bizarre. Let me
yep.
tell you, so crazy.
It's funny you mentioned, somebody being abused. I had a
Yeah.
case I had a home case, and the lady, actually had Lewy body dementia, and she, um, had been on meds, had started on meds, and for anybody who knows about Lewy body dementia, you can have hallucinations, you can have tactile hallucinations, which is things touching you like skin, like things maybe crawling or sensations and different types of hallucinations. And I questioned that, but we went anyway. Um, and she did, and how to convince somebody that she she was having, and I'm not going to explain this, on a live, but she was having double penetration hallucinations, and I'll leave it at that. And like crazier than a
Mm.
bed bug, bless her heart, loved her to pieces. Um, but she did have issues. It is very sad. You're right, Kim. It's horrible. And she needed her
It
meds
is.
changed because she was hallucinating so bad. However, Supernatural Inc.'s reverse playbox, I had it up on her mantle, and I'm, you know, kind of sort of pulling a Zach Bagans, which I don't do at very many places. I'm challenging this thing because I felt like she needed that kind of reconciliation in
Yeah.
that moment. And I also wasn't sure there were some other little things going on that were not, and I couldn't figure out, was it her and her mental state that was driving the energy to be that way, or was there something else there? So I did a challenge, made it quite emphatic, and the reverse play box thing, just as loud as it could be in a full sentence, came back and said, "Jesus is a fucking liar," or "Jesus Christ is a fucking liar."
Good God, dude.
And I was just like, "What?" And she was of presence enough that she turned around and she said, "Did your box just say what I thought it said?" And I
I
said,
don't
"It did. It
and
did.
that's reverse speech, and
That
so,
was reverse speech."
yeah, I don't know if Lovejoy's on here because he has a reverse speech, and he put in a tape cassette into the reverse speech box, the ink reverse box, and it's playing it in reverse. I mean, and I can't explain that. What are the odds of that? I mean,
That's weird, yeah.
it
I
Kim.
think I said it I think I what I said to it was, like, I had said a couple things, and we got a growl, and there were some other things, and I turned around and I said, "In the name of Jesus Christ, I command you to leave." And that
Yeah,
and immediately came back, "Jesus Christ is a fucking liar." And we were all just like, "Whoa,
yeah,
whoa, it'll never happen again." It was
that's
just
crazy.
crazy.
And I wonder,
Just
if it just, wanted,
but
like,
necrophonics and And your MCOM was meowing the other night, like, you heard that. Were
Uh,
you on that
uh.
night? Yeah,
With the
so I did have
dolls?
my 2 dolls.
Mhm.
Yeah, and the cat went by and went, and the necrophonics went, and the MCOM went, and then the other went, meow, and it was like it was just like they were Greg was
It
on,
yeah, it was they were feeding dude,
they feed
that's
to each other.
that's good that is good evidence because how can you I know it's in the MCOM, I'm just saying, and can't explain that. Oh, Tim's on here, yes.
But,
What is
Kurt's cat's going and meow is not in your word pool. Like, a is not in your word pool, and the cat had just walked by and done that on air to the doll, and the doll responded, and then the other thing responded, and then it responded again. It was crazy. It was
Oh,
like
man,
everybody
that's
was talking
creepy,
to each
bro.
other. It was great.
Oh,
It
god,
was great.
that's give me chills, man.
And
God
everybody who was
dag.
on that night heard it, like, it was live. Go back to YouTube, it was there. Is it possible to have a split personality disorder within a spirit, or do you feel like they take on a persona to best gain confidence with the investigator? I personally think that an entity, whether it spirit, whether it be a dead person or an entity, I think they will be anything you want them to be as long as they can get energy.
So,
And I think that's
I
why it's so important when we go places that we don't create a story. Like, so many of these people have created stories in these places, and the storyline has continued, and now the energy is acting out that story for everybody when it's not even a real story. It didn't even happen. I think we can create the scenario, and the energy or the spirits will follow suit. Yes.
yeah, yeah. Um,
Know your
Grand
history.
Dither. Yes. Oh, yes. What do you do in a situation beside get out of there fast?
Oh, I never
Yeah,
leave.
I don't. I
I never
can't.
leave. I never leave.
And as much as so Brandon, I was doing a home case and he calls me on FaceTime and I didn't I had a scratch. I had brought Abby with me and I was like, no, man, I did that myself, dude. Man, Seth knows that ain't supposed to touch me. And I was on the phone with Brandon and the homeowner was like, oh my god, I just saw, like it was like a gray mist behind me. And then I started feeling, like, real flush. I got real flushed and hot, and then, Brandon started chanting, like, some Cherokee stuff, and then I started, like, just sweating. He's like starts yelling at us. He's like, "Run, run." I was like, "I can't run. No, are you crazy?" He goes, "Just please go outside. Do you have, like, black salt?" I'm like, "I always carry black salt. You girl,
Yeah.
you know I carry my black salt." And that's on rare occasions, okay, guys? And it's like, "Brandon, I can't run out." He goes, "You're the only one in there." And all of a sudden the tripod with our camera on it, bloop, falls by itself. And then
You're
in
like,
the ca
"Okay, I'm gonna take a walk outside for a minute."
and I just very slowly, I was like, "I'm not walking outside because I'm scared of you. I'm walking outside because my shaman is telling me to walk outside." And he's like screaming at me. And then he goes, so I turn the camera around, my phone around. He's like, "Can't go in yet. Don't go in yet." He goes, "Get, do something. Do your little thing." So,
Yep,
long story short, I did my little thing. Walked back in, and you know, I had Abby. She's was the second medium that I brought with me, and so she was able to tell what she needed to do and what would help her because somebody went around all four corners of the house spraying with salt water. Worst thing to do. Her friend didn't. She was meant well, but anyways, that's for
yeah,
another day. Another day.
yeah. I've run one time. One time. One time I ran. I ran on a bridge, and the only reason I ran was because the energy was so strong and, um, it spiraled, like, you had to be there with me to know, but it was like it was almost like a tornado of energy. This was like, like a whirlwind, and this hideous laughter came, and I thought I was going to be pushed over the side of the bridge, and I ran
Nah,
because,
bro.
if it's gonna be
I
if it's gonna be going over the side of the bridge or running, I'm gonna run, but what I didn't do was I didn't clean myself, and I didn't tell it to stay behind, and it actually ended up following us home, and it was stuck with me for a year and a half, and it wasn't bad, it was just a dead chick, she had hung herself.
Right,
Um,
and see, that's smart. See, I'm not no idiot. I will remove myself from a situation, right, if if I'm not welcome there. But I will shift. I might go into another area, and I'm
right,
like, okay, out of respect, just for right now. But when you get that feeling, like at the McIntyre Villa, had just got done wearing the ghost helmet, and everybody walked outside. I did a walkthrough to make sure I grabbed all my equipment. I get up there on the threshold, and I see uh, it looked like an older man had a coat over a woman or something like that, and was shuffling her along into the closet. It stopped me in my tracks, Julie. I
yeah,
was because I wasn't expecting it.
right,
I
and there's a
and
difference, yeah,
and
you have
and
to
if I
process it.
yeah, if Mrs. Katy sees something, either somebody's got some holographic crap, somebody's messing with me, or that's for real. Cause
Yes,
I ain't up. I don't be seeing stuff. Not no apparitions. I mean, I've saw a handful of apparitions. That and it just. I was like, oh God. But here was the thing. I stopped for a minute. I prayed, and I was like, I gotta walk in there. But
mhm,
here was the thing. I got to thinking, well, they didn't even look at me. They didn't look at me. I don't know if they noticed me. I don't know. I'm sure they knew I was there, but
residual,
they
residual,
yeah. So I had to stop, think for a minute. But good 5 minutes went.
that's
Maybe
okay,
5 minutes. I would
that's
have to
okay.
get my notebook. But now every time I go over there, I walk right into that room every time, and say, "Hi guys, I'm here. Brought you guys blah blah blah." I bring little things to the house, like mostly fresh cut flowers. But yeah, I always leave a gift behind every time I leave a location out of respect. My mentor taught me that, and I will leave a seashell outside, and I pray on it. I keep it in my pocket, and I leave it. I leave you here. I leave you here, and I leave you here where I found you. I care for your soul, your spirit. Goodbye, and I
And
leave.
don't take things from sites either.
No, no, no,
Oh my
no,
god, do you know how many
no.
cleanups I've had to do from people taking things from haunted locations?
Yeah,
Just
yeah. The people,
don't even
people.
take a rock. I learned this in my other, initiations spiritually is even a rock has
No, dude.
energy. So,
Yeah, I'm
like,
good.
when you take a rock, you have to ask that rock's permission. You have to and if you're taking it from a haunted location, you're taking a piece of that energy with you, and a lot of bad things happen. Don't do that stuff. Don't
I,
be stupid.
yeah, don't. And I know you guys, some people are like, it's just a rock. No, I need
No.
everyone to look up the history and other cultures when it comes to rocks, because even the natives were in Ohio, was it Ohio or Virginia, somewhere on the East Coast? They shifted into these rocks. So they were fighting the French. This is during the French and Indian War. So fascinating. They turn around and they didn't see anything but like big rocks. And don't do it, dude, because
Don't do it. But, yes, Damien, taking a body from a cemetery is frowned upon.
man,
Although my Paulo brothers and sisters would maybe question that because they do remove bones from cemeteries to practice their magic.
certain
Um,
areas down in the bayou, this
yeah, we're not gonna talk about that.
yeah.
Question, with the activity that you experienced in those intense cases, how often do you go back? Do more research, gain more evidence, or is it a matter of not testing fate? I don't know, I mean, I don't immediately go back. Um, actually, I'm trying to think. My intense thing on the bridge, I never did go back after that. Um, we
You
talked
didn't have
about
you didn't have a reason to.
no, we actually were trying to go back that night I did my live when it was wintertime, but we took the wrong turn off and ended up in the 2nd place and not the 1st place. Um
divine intervention, you think?
I think that was divine intervention. I don't think I was supposed to go
Divine
back.
in right.
Yeah, I
Um,
don't think I'm supposed to go back. Haunted locations that have good thrills. I mean, I'm not gonna go back a lot because that's how you gain attachments, and that's how you, I really believe that after a while, you become what's the word? Um, less acute in your paying attention of things. You're
yeah,
less likely to pay attention to the things that and I think things sneak in under the radar. People who keep going back to the same place that's got dark energy oftentimes will become consumed by that. They will wanna be there all the time, the place attaches to them, they can't leave the place. You desensitize, yeah, that's the word I'm looking for, thank you. Yep. So, I mean, I don't know.
well, for myself, I don't do home cases just because I had another like home cases can get crazy. The homeowners could do bring stuff into their house. Like, a lot of them cause it themselves,
Most of them
and
do.
I am a very honest, straightforward, transparent person, and I tell them, I'm like, okay, well, you did this, so you will have to clean this up. If you knew what you were doing or what you're trying to cause and you're thinking it was a joke, what have you, there's lots of different scenarios. We don't have time to talk about them tonight, but I personally will not clean their mess up. Um, I will give them ways to clean them up, but I will tell them they need to go to call a psychic medium, call someone to come a Reiki practitioner, other people who can assist with that. I because if they're not, um, I am spiritual. I go by the Bible, and so if I say, hey, you don't do this like with the salt water. Like, why did you do the salt water? Like, because I was standing here and I got the idea in my head. And I'm like, something I don't know. I don't think because this girl didn't know anything about salt water. She had no idea that people use it for cleansing. People use salt around the doors, stuff like that. So she did like a wash, and
Ooh,
she
ooh,
didn't know though. She didn't know. She said it just popped in her mind. She didn't know anything about any of that. It was just yeah. And then um, there was a gentleman uh, mother and father was saying that the boy was being affected by something in their new house, and that's why he was acting aggressive, and and you know anyways, I'll just leave it there. Stuff like that. i'm I'm not a I'm not a therapist. I'm not a
right.
so is there's
And
a
we spend a
final.
lot of time referring people, like, for real. I
No,
spend a lot of time referring.
I carry cards. I'm like, because if you go out and you hurt someone, you're going to go to jail. And they're not, you can sit there and say, oh, it was done by blah blah blah, a demon, and I mean, you're still going to be in trouble. I'm just saying. So there's something else underlining going there. I'm not saying that person wasn't being affected by something like that, but
Right.
let's go back to what our culture is like in a court of law and how they're going to look at it and what they're going to do to you.
You're taking a chance. Every time you're taking a chance. You are.
There's lots of different scenarios.
It's scary. No, it is very scary. It seems to get more and more scary each time we go. This last time wasn't scary. It was just, again, people create their own entities by thought, word, and deed. I mean, you do. They create their own monsters half the time. Which paranormal tech do you believe needs to get the biggest upgrade? Is there a tech out there that you have had the most success with?
Hmm. That's I don't use just one piece of equipment though.
Yeah,
I will set out quartz crystal north, east, south, and west of the perimeter of the location that I'm researching. So I'm doing lots of different things. and lots of different theoretical things. And I use a ghost box. Like with the gator clips, I'll attach it to a haunted object. We do have a touch tray that, you know, we would put somebody's glasses on this touch tray as a trigger object, hook gator clips to the touch tray, and it will beep if something touches it. And we connect it to the antenna of a ghost box. I mean, there's lots of different methods. Um, I like the little weather stations, little weather stations, like the little weather, like a you know meter. The weather tells you the humidity that's inside and outside and stuff like that. Paranormal puck, the paranormal puck. I love the paranormal puck.
Yep.
Love it. Um, and like you could text ghosts. It's freaking fascinating. And but I always use lots of different various equipment at once.
We do too.
I
You know, I'll use apps too. Like, I know a lot of people don't like apps, phone apps, but I mean,
y-
I'll run
yeah,
equipment
I
against
personally
apps.
don't. I do have one app that have used since I don't know, probably 2017. I think it's called the Ghost Radio app. I haven't used it in a long time, but I don't. Yeah, so because it has the um it does it's this app here, and it has, like, the little television fuzzy screen on it, and I like that. There's lots of different modes on it, and it talks, you know I've had some weird things come through this, but since they've updated it, it asked if it could connect to my microphone, and I was fine with that because there's a record function on it, because before you couldn't hear your questions that you were
Right.
asking on the recording. So I did that, and I did put on airplane mode. Um, but then it had asked to access my camera, which I don't know why it wanted to access my camera, because it has no functionality of taking picture. I don't know. And then it had asked that it was using my location in the background, which I don't know why. Even on airplane mode, it's still detecting your location, guys. Just turn your phones off.
Right.
But
Yeah. I'll run
I
the MCOM against apps on my phone, and
that's
we'll
the
get the
yeah.
same conversation. So, I mean, like, I like to do stuff like that, um, just just to get a feel for, is my box accurate? Like, if you've got 2 different sources
Mhm.
and the same and they start talking to each
Yeah.
other, then it's kinda like, "Well, cool." That's kinda like
Well, like
that,
with
now
the
they're
meow.
answering each other. Yeah, like the
Yeah.
meow. Yeah.
Yeah, and you could take 2 different ghost boxes and, one person to be in one room, the other be in the other room. I've had this happen. 2 completely different boxes. I mean, obviously, we use our boxes and the SB7. I like the SB7,
Yep.
and I do use other makers' boxes if they will sell them to me. The whole taste. I have a box of theirs, and Austin Maynard. I have lots of different types of equipment of Austin's.
Mhm.
He has different types of equipment, and there's some builders that I am still trying to get a box from, but they're like, "Well, your husband makes them," and blah blah blah. And I'm like, "I know, but I like ghost boxes."
Yeah. Like, I have a collection of them, and I want a
I
collection
have
of
a
stuff.
huge. Yeah, you have that awesome box. That awesome. What box is it? What's it called? Like we didn't even have it that long. What's it called again?
The OG?
No, that specialty boutique box. Oh, and
Yeah,
it's like
wasn't
in a
that the OG? That's the OG.
no, so the
Well, the
OG's it's the OG ink box, but no, you have it's in like a nice little wooden cigar box,
oh,
and
um,
Kate, there's only one of those.
I got it. Yeah, I can't think of what the name of it is. We use that a lot too.
I can't, yeah, because KD had just made it, and I was, oh, what is it called? The Legba Link? I can't remember.
Hang on. Hey,
Ah,
Chris, what's the name of the big wooden box that we use that's, from Supernatural Inc.? What's the wooden box that we use from Supernatural Inc.?
a second.
Wise Man.
The Wise Man.
I was
Yes,
calling it the OG.
dude. Dude, the wise man box. So tested that. I test all these boxes, and I have notes like spiral. Now I make spiral bound books, and I make my own research booklets. If you guys want one, let me know. Just throw that out there. Julie's got equipment as well. Now she has equipment and but t-shirt merch stuff like that. But anyways, because we do all that in house, and I need to
I
have
have
a
great
meeting with.
merch. I have great merch.
Yeah, I sold my SB11. I me and
I don't
that
like
box.
it.
I
I don't
didn't get
like it.
along with that box, but the SB7, I like it. I use
Yeah,
it
I like my
occasionally.
SB7. I don't like my SB11. Chris
I
likes
don't,
it. I don't like it.
some people like it, and that's fine.
I like
And
my
same,
MCOM. I
yeah,
love
same
my
thing.
MCOM.
Yeah, some people don't like the MCOM. They prefer more like the Inkbox S, and I'm fine with that. It, I'm glad that people are using that instrumental transcommunication ITC form of research. That because it does break barriers. Um, you guys should look up the ITC community. These people are scientists. They're in Luxembourg, they're in Italy, they're in Spain. They're all over the world. They've been doing this stuff since like the 60s. I have a lot of their books, and but also sometimes I'll go to the villa, won't carry any equipment with me because something it my mind a thought comes in my mind is like you don't need anything.
Yeah. I
Just
always
take.
carry it with me, but I don't always use it.
I'll leave it in the car. I'm guilty of that. And now I will wear a pendulum, and I will use a pendulum sometimes.
I use
I,
dowsing rods.
I now I will tell you the SLS, because the SLS camera, because now you can just get an app on your phone and it works just like the SLS camera. It is
Mhm.
the exact same software, guys. Now now the SLS camera, you can download the crime scene software, completely different. Does like three-dimensional. It's very fascinating. Anyways, long story short, um, we have a video of it. We were at Shawnee Indian Mission. Our we had a guest using dowsing rods, Melissa Forrester. She was holding the dowsing rods, and on the SLS camera, there was a stick figure moving these dowsing rods. It was that right there. I can't explain that. And I'm shining a light on her. I have the camera on. You can see it on the screen, and
Mhm.
she's right here on the side. And the dowsing rods are really long in the image on the screen because it's a stick figure, and you can see other long fingers. I guess you would say. I was calling them fingers. They were moving the down. We saw it. Oh
Moving
my
the dowsing
gosh.
rods.
And you guys should, if you guys download that app and use that sucker with them dowsing rods, pendulum. See if you get a stick figure to move. Man, I don't know. You can't. I don't know how you could dispute that, man.
I have had
Shoot,
dowsing rods move on my people. Sorry, we've been outside all day today. My eyes are like
mine.
allergies are itching
Yeah,
so
mine
bad.
too. Had a
Um,
hose down my eye, so we're
oh,
coming on.
we went to the Ren Fest this afternoon, and I'm like, my head is itching. Everything's itching from pollen. I
Yeah.
have turquoise of dowsing rods that are amazing, and they're copper with shungite and diamond dust, and then they've got
Ooh.
turquoise that are wrapped on copper rods going around, and I'll set them up as a barrier on people when I'm doing Reiki and I'm trying to grab something, and I've had them cross more than once, and I've taken pictures of them. They'll cross all of a sudden, and I can tell, like, as soon as whatever it is that lifts up, the rods will cross, and then they'll be
Wait.
done.
So what do you do now? You put.
I'll set them up on a person in a certain pattern,
Mhm.
and I'll be working with the energy, and then all of a sudden the rods will cross. Like, they'll just cross, the person won't move and they'll cross, and I know that
What?
the
So
energy
you
is lifted.
so you kinda know where it's at. No
I just
way! Oh
put
my
them in a certain way
god!
and they'll move. They've moved on
What a
3
good
different people.
idea! I've never heard Whoa! I've never heard of anyone doing that. That is a really good idea. because I've known I know generational dowsers, they use those long, like 6 foot. They're like, I don't know if they're 6 foot. They're over
Mhm.
6. I don't know the exact measurement.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about, yeah.
Yeah, and so they actually do use that stuff to find treasure and energy, unmarked graves, like all kinds of stuff. And they'll tell you straight up that for whatever reason, somebody's vibration is real high, and they'll be directed to go to that person. And yeah, because I'm on a cemeteries committee for Paradise Cemetery, and the guy from the funeral place, whatever, he comes in, he has these big black long dowsing rods. And I said, "Ooh, we're going dowsing. Let me go get my dowsing rods." So I pull out my little
I
ones. He
love
goes,
it.
"Oh," he goes, "Oh, you're a generational dowser?" And I was like, "No." He goes, "So
Okay.
you use your dowsing rods to find unmarked graves?" And I was like, "No, I'm not doing that. Are you crazy?" I was like,
Oh,
"I
you
can't."
can find all kinds of things with them.
Yeah, I was.
Lost car keys, lost cell
Yes!
phones,
Oh my
everything.
gosh!
Look with it,
Yes!
you can find it.
Yes,
Of
the
course, you can also
caretaker.
pray to the patron saint of lost items and, then it'll pop up in front of you, but that's another whole thing.
Yeah, yeah, I go metal detecting, and I'll use a pendulum and a dowsing rod, and I'm not talking like a crystal, it just depends on what I feel like taking. I'll do that when I go metal detecting, and, but the caretaker at the museum, he found his car keys using dowsing rods.
Yeah. I lose things all the
Mhm.
time and find them that way.
That's
Yeah.
crazy. I've never found anything with my dowsing rods. Well, my son found, it was a Saint had Saint Mary old, pin that he
Mm,
found. He was using the dowsing rods, and, he had, like, the little wand. Like, he was, like, walking and the rods would cross, he'd walk back, rods would cross, he'd take the little, metal detecting wand, and he's waving it over, and I was like, and this is on the shore of the Missouri River, and, yeah, no, there was something there.
yeah.
There was
We do
something
that at
there.
shows to sell them. We'll have water glasses, like water mugs. Places like Chris will have his and I'll have mine, and we'll say, like, point, and I'll be standing, like, in between the 2, and I'll say, "Point to where the water is," and they'll separate, and one will go towards his cup, and one will go towards my cup every single time,
Yeah. Whoa, why? How is that?
'cause they find water. That's what they do. They're water witching. Your
So
rods
it's
are
so he's holding the rods and it goes to his
No,
cup
I'll
and
hold the rods.
uh-huh.
I'll hold the rods in between my cup and his cup, and I'll say, "Point to where the water is," and they'll split and go to both cups every single time, no matter where I stand, where I am, it's not a fluke, I can stand with my back turned, and they'll go all the way around, it doesn't matter. Yes,
That
water does
that
hold information.
see, and do you see there's lots of different techniques people can use in their research, and you I obviously you want to go in with good intentions, but you also want to go in with not a you don't want to have a closed mind if that
No,
if it,
always be
you
open
want.
and don't go in with an idea. I mean, it's okay to have an idea, but don't be so stuck on
Yes.
that idea that you can't
Mhm.
change your idea, change your mind on things.
That's right. Yep.
Because I can't tell you how many times I've been wrong and it's been something else or it's been, just like my cat shit story and everybody here's heard my cat shit story. I heard a new one. If one of the clients that one of my clients that actually did have a demonic entity in his house, one of the very few. Um,
Mm.
and we have videos and audios and pictures, can back this up. Um, he thought something was back and tried to debunk. I mean, that's the one thing we taught him is don't freak out over it. We got out whatever we needed to get out. You know, I'm gonna sneeze. Sorry. Um,
Look at the
don't
light. Look at the light. I hope you sneeze.
think through this. Don't freak yourself out over this, and don't. And so he's got a new wife now, and they thought they had taken a pic. cameras set up all around his house inside and
He
blink
has
cameras. And he
his
thought,
cameras.
well, he has blink cameras, and he thought he saw the top hat man and something else again, and ended up being in a million years. I don't know how it could have repeated itself, but it was a whoosh, and it looked like a top
Mm,
hat shadow, and it
mm,
was its cat's
mm,
tail going through
mm,
the light of the camera at night, and he was
mm-mm.
able to he got a second picture, and his wife was like, "Wait a minute, look, that looks like hairs. Wait a minute, that looks like," and it was the tip of the tail of the cat going past the camera at night.
Uh-huh.
Cats
Like
are
a
ass
yeah, like a real cat. But what
yeah,
is
a real cat,
yeah, and then
a real cat.
but they saw the Hat Man too that was outside?
Well, no, no, that was the it was inside, and he had seen this person, and there was a person inside that was a top hat person. We
Yeah,
worked
there's
on
a
that
lot
one,
of yeah. A lot
but
of
this
young
was
girls.
actually the tip of the tail, and it was the little black tip of the tail
That's
coming through the
so
camera at
funny.
night, and they were able to debunk that, see, so not everything is
Right.
as it
Right.
is.
Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah. I
Teach your
don't
clients too, don't have to keep coming back, teach your people. It's happening. I read
dude.
Damien, I read that at first, and I thought it said, "It's a hot man I hunt," and I'm like, "I know some. I know some." Sorry. I'm
Oh,
tired. It's
shit.
been a long
Me
night.
too. Me
We
too.
should
I
end
don't
on
see
that. We'll
yeah,
end on that
yeah.
joke.
Yeah, that was good. We appreciate all you guys. Thanks,
Text
thanks for
text Julie if you need a hot man, no. Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Well, you guys don't forget to tune in to our other podcasters, Greg Koss, which is in the chat. He's on Wednesday nights at 9 o'clock. And Kim, who I call her Dr. Kim because she just got her doctorate actually. So she's a
Congratulations,
yeah.
Kim.
Yeah, she's worked really hard for it. She's
That's
does
big.
rotations on there as well. Wednesday night they do the STs method. They've been doing Greg's been doing that for years. So fascinating. And then Friday he has the Mariner Spirit. I said it right this time, Greg. Yes, sir. And that's a very good show as well. Russell Reynolds, he comes on. He's Saturday, right?
Yeah.
Russell comes on Saturday, and then Julie is Sunday. Sometimes KD, my husband in Austin, will come on Thursdays. So it just depends on how busy KD and worked hard that day. Just depends. So, but great show tonight. Thank you
Thank
both.
you guys for joining us. Thank you, regulars, for being faithful. We so appreciate it.
Love you too, Beb. And thank you guys for the questions. Thank you so much for the questions. I love when people ask like very
I do,
respectful,
James.
re- like the
Good
Grant
questions
Grand
tonight.
Dizzard 12, like he was asking very professional questions, and I love that. I like that. I think that's important. And for another time, Julie's very seasoned. She knows a lot. She knows probably more than I know, especially with the healing,
Oh,
because I know chakras, but I'm sure she knows chakras like the back of her hand. But
I do. I do. Hang on a second.
yeah, and I use bells for chakra clearing. So, oh, oh, look at his face. He's got like,
I'm gonna get whacked.
oh, he's so cute. Oh, he's so cute, girl or boy. Julie, are you there? Julie. Well, we thank you for joining in, Grandizer 12. I hope I said your name right. And I think we lost Julie's. I can't hear her. Well, I guess I will end the stream if Julie will give me a thumbs up. If she can hear me, I will end the stream. If you give me a thumbs up, I'll end the stream because I can't hear you. Okay, so she gave me the thumbs up, guys. Hey, guys, thank you for joining in tonight on the Spiritual Speakeasy. Tune in every Sunday at 9 o'clock. Different guests every Sunday. Have a wonderful, blessed week, everyone. Bye. Ah.